Hi, my name is Tony Farella, but I used to work at the Cassese Bakery. It was my grandparents' bakery, 1806 22nd Street in North Chicago, Illinois. The bakery was located down the street from the Great Lakes Naval Training Center. If you've ever been stationed in Great Lakes or lived in North Chicago, you may have had some of our bakery goods. So this is the recipe that we used to make bread with. First of all, this is what we're going to use. We have 0.9 of an ounce of salt. I have 3 tablespoons of yeast. I have 32 ounces of tepid, a little bit on the warm side water. And I have about 10 cups of flour. And now we'll start with the water. 32 ounces of water going in. Okay. Then I will dissolve the salt. I like to dissolve the salt. I'm going to use this little spatula here because one time years ago I put the salt in late. Back years ago when we had the bakery, I see these little salt dots on the outer crust of bread, and I didn't like that. Number one. Number two, it didn't raise as much. It wasn't quite the same bread. So let's go ahead and see how this mixes. We get the mixer. It says that you should mix bread at about the second speed, and I've got that on the first, and that's the second, and that's probably about as fast as you should mix it. It'll all mix in about 10 minutes. I'm doing this just to try to get the salt dissolved, and I'll help it out a little bit. We'll dissolve that salt, water, then the salt, then the yeast. There goes the yeast. There's our 3 tablespoons of dry yeast. In the bakery, we didn't use dry yeast. I'm just moving the spatula around, helping the yeast dissolve now. And here comes our 10 cups of flour. I'm going to go ahead and dump a bunch in. And I'll probably save a little bit for the last few cups. Let's go ahead and dump most of it in. Start it on 1, and go to 2. And that's going. I'll feed this other bit of flour in there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and slow it down. As you can see, it's getting nice and firm. The reason I'm slowing it down is because I don't want to put any extra strain on the mixer when it's getting nice and firm. Today is a hot, humid day in Illinois, so it should raise fast. But I want to start out with a nice firm dough. As you can see, it keeps mixing, and then I'm going to pull it down to make sure the dough on the very bottom is all mixed in. The only thing I could see wrong with this little KitchenAid that I love so very much is that it happens to be a little separation from the bottom of the hook to the bottom of the bowl. And I would like to go ahead and make sure. I'm going to stop that now. It hasn't been too terribly long. Dough feels nice and mixed on top. But as I'm pulling up from the bottom, I should probably pull it up this other way. Get a little flour in my hands here. And so you can actually see, okay, right there on the bottom, it's not as mixed up. Right there, I could feel it. You could see it. If you back up the camera a little bit, you could see it, okay? That it's a little hard mix. It's not quite as well mixed down there. So we're going to pull it up, move it around, and then let it mix some more. And I don't want to keep putting too much flour because it's starting to be nice and firm. And the more flour I put in, the more flour might get trapped underneath. It's the only flaw that I see with this machine, but it's not a big flaw because it's very easy to raise up and put down. And start. Take the flour off my hands, the dough off my hands, put it back in the bowl. when you see that the dough on the bottom is pretty much a big ball of dough and it's not sticking too much, then you know that it's just about ready. Looking good. Let me stop it one more time by just pushing this back. Feel it. Nice. Feels good there at the top. Lower it. Feels nice at the bottom. Yep. All mixed. So then we'll take the dough off the hook and twist the hook off. And before I stop the mixing part, I'd like to show you have my wife move the camera over and show you how it raises. Simple. I like this so much more. If I had bought a mixer with the top that lifts up, I wouldn't have been able to put it under here, because then the top would have to lift off and it would bang into my cabinet. So here we are. Dough looks good, nice and solid, nice and mixed. I could tell that from my hands. And then I'll just put just a little touch of flour on top. And then we're going to take a cloth and put it in the oven. So we can go get the cloth. There we go. And it's such a hot day, I don't think I have to really heat up this oven. But what I have to do, oh, you know what, I think I will. Just heat it for about 20 seconds. Put it bake, put it start. Just let it go for about 20 seconds. I just didn't want it to be cool when it went in. So a few seconds more of that, and it'll give a little more heat. And then we'll just stop that. Show you how easy this is. Got a nice handle. You lift it up, pops right off. And then I can cover it up. And just a hint of being warm in there. So we'll let that raise for about 30 minutes. This is the process. You let it raise for 30 minutes. I'm going to set my timer here for 30 minutes. And as you'll see, the timer is working now. So in about 30 minutes, we'll take it out, and then we'll punch the dough down, and then we'll put it back in for about 30 minutes. So that's the steps. First, you mix it, and then 2 30-minute sections, and so the dough actually raises for an hour, though I punch it down twice. And then we'll go ahead and weigh it into size of what we're going to make, and then we'll continue with the show after that. I would like to introduce my wife Karen to you. My wife Karen and I actually met at the Cassese Bakery on 22nd Street. Why don't you come on up behind that camera, Karen? There, sweet. Alright, none of this, we're not going to make that kind of a movie. I thought you didn't want to do that.
He jokes
okay.
a lot.
Karen's dad was in the Navy and Great Lakes Naval Training Center, and he used to come into the bakery and he would talk to my mom while we were working. And then one day your dad brought in you, and he talked to my mom, and then I made a conversation with Karen.
Yes, he was rolling rye bread at the time.
Friday was rye day, and maybe Saturday. Karen and I were chatting a little bit while I was making the rye bread. And after Karen left, I turned to my mom and I said, "You know, Mom, that girl's gonna be cute when she grows up." And my mom said to me, "What are you, some kind of a pervert? She's only 12 years old." I said, "Mama, I didn't mean it like that." At the time, I was 27, so there's a little bit of difference in our age, but it's not a big deal.
I keep him young.
Yeah, she does. That's how we met. Oh, and then to finish the story,
I grew up.
Karen grew up, and I hadn't seen her since that time that she came in the bakery with her dad at 12 years old. So the next time I saw her, I didn't know that at first, but you were 21, and I said, "Weren't you the girl that came in with your dad sometimes, who was in the Navy and talked da da da?" She goes, "Yeah." So I asked her out, and we went out.
The rest is history.
And the rest is history, all right? I just wanted to let you know that this is a joint effort here, and we are a team. And
so
now we're
I will
going
be showing some of my baking talents as well.
Yeah,
so.
Karen's getting her baking talents together for a few more videos, and there's all kinds of things we can make with bread. I'm making white bread, the same bread that Italian bread, pan loaves, braids, Vienna bread, pull-apart buns are made out of. Just briefly, I'm going to show you that we have to grease the pan. Put a little oil in here. Use butter, you could use margarine. I just put a little on there. Take a little piece of a napkin. Grease these pans lightly so they won't stick. Our little bell went off, so 30 minutes is up. Well, it did go off once. That's the second time. It's the second warning. Okay, so we see that the dough has raised quite substantially, and now's the time for us to push it down. Knock it down. We should have shut that fan. All right, I noticed that I had the overhead fan on because it's getting pretty warm in here, so I went ahead and shut the fan. And as we do this, we just keep pushing it down and turning it in on itself and pushing it down and hitting it, and then you see it has already gone down. And basically this redistributes the yeast. And I don't think I even need to go ahead and put any more heat to the oven because it's, again, it's a warm day. So I will go ahead and let this raise for another half hour, set the timer, and do it all over one more time, and then we'll scale it. Scaling it means that we will go ahead and divide it into the size that we want it to be. Alright, the other half hour has passed. We see it's raised to the top again, which is a wonderful thing. And then we just punch it down some more. Redistribute the yeast. So then we're going to take this out, put a little more flour. Alright, so get that, get that bowl, wash that up. Okay, now I'm just folding it over on itself. And folding it over on itself. Basically what I'm doing now is what you do when you roll the dough. I worked next to my grandfather for a long time when I was a kid. I rolled the dough and rolled the dough next to him and could never get it as tight as he is. All he'd have to do is touch my dough, and my dough was so much softer and his was so much firmer, until one day when I finally got it as tight a roll as my grandfather. And then that made the pan loaf raise more, and I was just like the happiest guy in the world when I was able to do that. I'm going to make 2 pound and a half. Pound and a half is 16 ounces, 8 is 24. Then I add about three more. It's about 27 ounces then, or 1 pound and 11 ounces. So let's get that going. That's 1 pound 8.8, 1 pound 10.3, 1 pound 10.7. Boy, almost right there, splitting hairs. There it is. 1 pound 11. 1 pound 111. That's close enough. Okay, so there's one loaf that's 1 pound 11. And then we'll make another one about the same size. £1 99, 1 pound 10. There we go. 1 pound 11. It's a hot, humid day. Now that sticks real quickly to the bench and to the paper. So let's just go ahead and roll these. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take and use this aluminum pan. We used to put the bread in boxes when I was a kid with the flour sacks in them. But what I'm going to do for home purposes is just let it raise. I will toss it back in the oven, but let me grab a, well, I'll cover it with this cloth right now. And then let's see what we got left here. going to make a pound, 3 ounces if possible, 15 ounces, that's going to be about like that. Pound, 3 ounces. And this is a little, what, 9.8 ounces. Not much there, honey, for us to work with, but I'll make a little something for dinner for us out of that. And we just keep rolling a little bit. Now, as you notice, I get, on my hand, I get dough that's stuck right here on the palm, on the base of my palm. And that is because when you roll bread, that's what you use. You grab it and you push it down with your palm. The palm almost touches the wood, so the dough is getting tighter underneath your palm, between the palm and the wood. And that's what makes the dough feel tighter, and that's what makes it raise bigger. So just a few little tricks of the trade. And as I roll the bread, I'll show you that again. So let's go ahead and put that back in the oven for it to raise some more, or as my wife says, proof some more. Let that go for about 15-20 minutes, I think. Let's go set it for 20 right now, timer. And then we can go ahead and form it. Timer has gone off again. I'll cancel that. And so now it's time to make our final roll and shape our bread. What I want to do is I want to roll the small one first, just to go ahead and get that out of the way. And this is how my grandfather did it. He used to take this, fold it in half, and fold it in half that way, and then he'd roll it. And again, when you roll it, you keep pushing under so it gets tight. The dough is nice and tight, and then you stick your thumbs and you roll it under, and it's nice and tight. I'm going to put this in a little pan. I'll take this knife and cut it. This is going to be for Karen and I. We'll have some nice big sandwiches later on. And I'm just going to make this long and flat. So I'll cut it in half. We'll put the meat in between, and we are going to be good. And I'll just roll the sesame seeds on here onto the bread. The dough is nice and it's cut open, so it's nice and sticky there, and that should hold the sesame seeds very nicely on our bread. And I'm pushing it down a little bit to make it flatter. Kind of a thing I just started doing this year, messing around at home with these. Make it nice and flat with the small pieces, and then we'll have this later. I'm going to go ahead and make pull-apart buns out of this. Again, I doubled it, and now we'll double it again, and we'll press it nice and flat, and throw a little flour, and again roll it, push it in with your fingers, roll it the rest of the way with your thumbs. At least you're getting a little tightness in there now, okay? I'm going to cut it into pieces, but these are your pull-apart buns. Make a bunch of little buns, you put them in the pan. I think those are pretty close to being the same size. Now this is where you roll with the heel of your hand, and I'm using 2 hands, as you can see, and then I'm using my thumb a little bit to make it nice and round. Okay, these are the pans that we put a little oil, and again, I'll make it roll them nice and round. Roll them and make them tight at the same time. Sometimes I make them so tight you break the skin, and you don't want to do that either. I'll get some flour in your hand. Okay, so our little pan is filling up. Let's make some room. I have enough for about 3 balls left. Okay, 1, 2. That's the last one. Out and try to make them as even as you can. They will be doing quite a bit of raising, so I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of flour just so they don't stick to the towel that I'm going to raise them on. And before I put them in, I'm going to make a little egg wash. And we are going to egg wash and put some seeds on top. Now these babies here are going to be the braids. To me, a braid is like the top of the line French bread or top of the line Italian bread. And we love sesame seeds, and my wife and I, and a lot of my friends do. So, all right, so this is how you make the braid again. And roll them. And that's for one. And the other, well, you know what? I'm just gonna do one on camera because I don't want this to be going on forever. Make it too long of an episode for the first one. So we'll divide this into 3 pieces, okay? And then we're gonna roll them. Again, I'm making them as flat as I can. And you see what I'm doing? I'm rolling it again. Rolling it, making it tight. Okay, and these you make kind of fat in the middle and pointy on the end. There's one. Still got a lot of body to it because I just went ahead and rolled it that way, so I'm just going to go ahead and roll it this way with my fingers. Making it nice and tight. There's 2. And there's 3. Roll that again. Okay. One a little longer. One a little longer. And this one's a little longer. Okay, just to make it narrow at the end. That one got a little fat on me. Okay, and then we're braiding it. And voila. Put this over this baby. Again, a little flour so it doesn't stick. And I'm going to cover this with a little egg wash anyway before I put it in. I will put them on the wood because this is granite under here. Even though it doesn't feel cool to the touch, it usually does. So let's just go ahead and put it on here. It should raise even faster. And we'll see in about probably about a half hour how they look. But for right now, I'm just going to go ahead and make a little egg wash. All that is, if you don't know that already, you just take an egg at about room temperature, and you crack it, and you put a few drops of water in there, and you'll have enough for egg wash to put on everything. A few minutes, I'll start the oven up, and then I'll egg wash the dough, which is now its final roll, it's shaped. So let's go ahead and egg wash these because I don't want to wait too long. I don't know why the pull-apart buns taste so good when you rip them apart with the sesame seeds on, and then you can make little sandwiches out of them. You could just put your butter on them, and I'm going to go ahead with the seeds. Ready? I have to put enough seeds on these. Maybe I'll put a little flour on the little claws that I use so to prevent anything from sticking on our little works of art here. Okay, that's one. And then we'll go ahead and this one. And again, I'm trying to be very careful not to puncture it or not to make it go flat, but this is still a pretty young piece of shaped dough, so it should be fine. And I'm being very careful not to do anything wrong. That's how dough is. Usually you get your little works of art. Sometimes. One time I covered it and I forgot that I had dough under there, and I stuck my hand in it. I thought I was just going to dry my hand on the towel, but instead I wrecked a few buns, so what are you going to do? It happens to the best of us. Okay. Now I better kick the oven on. Bake. Okay. Like I say, as hot as it is in here, I probably won't worry too much about 20 minutes, but it's about 2:30. About 3 o'clock will be half hour. About 10 to 3 should be about 20 minutes, so we'll double check them at that time. Okay. Time to put these babies in the oven. I'm going to go very slowly and hope nothing sticks. There we go. Excellent. Put these on top. One. Again, nice and carefully. Oh yes, thank you, thank you. The buns to stick on anything, good. And last but not least is our little flatbread for my wife and I. Our little flat pan dough. Okay, now I'm going to set that, I'd say 25 minutes. 25 minutes, and we'll check the pan, the buns. And the little pan loaves, because it's a less amount of dough. And then the last two on top, probably about 35 minutes is what I believe should be. So set this for 25 and we'll see you in 25 minutes. Okay, we have like 19 seconds, so it's been about 25 minutes. So let us see. Hot in my face. Wow. Yes. I'm going to take these out, put them right on top here. Because they look like they're cooked quite nicely. Again, start you out with the smallest amount of dough. These are my wife's cookie sheet.
Cooling racks.
Cooling racks, okay? Now, can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
You can see the top, okay? And then, I think it's, yeah, nice and smooth. Now, oh.
That looks beautiful.
Can you see that? Can you get it in the light? You want me to hold it up?
I got it right here.
Okay, you can see that. When it's like that, then by golly, it's ready. Cooked on the top, and this is what we're going to use for little fat little sandwiches tonight. And this is our pull-apart buns. How are they?
Look kind of light, but they should be okay.
They look a little light. Maybe I'll put them back for a couple moments. Okay?
Yeah, okay.
Do that, and we'll get that bottom to be a little browner, okay?
Sounds good.
Alright. I put this one back in the oven for about 2 minutes. And I think it should be showing nice. Can you see it over there? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Showing nice brown all the way around. Sometimes in the middle you want it looks a little more white where the dough raises and separates a little bit. But it should, all intents and purposes.
Oh, that looks much better.
Yeah. Can you see it good enough now?
Yep.
How's that?
Looks real good.
You don't want to cook it too much because you want it to be nice and soft when it pulls apart, but I am going to take it out of the pan. There we go. Now let it...
It is really hot in this oven. And of course, the timer is telling me that I'm still on, so let me go ahead and turn that off. These are looking really good. Okay.
Oh yeah, looks good.
Oh, that looks really good. Okay, let me bring that one over.
Ah,
You know, sometimes we have to have more than one person take one of these things out.
absolutely. There you go.
Oh, that looks wonderful.
I think it's good
Okay,
enough.
so now we can get these off of the pans.
All right. I gotta get a rack of a pan or a cloth here. Shut off the temperature? Or...
Not
Ah.
Okay.
Alright. I think that came out very nice.
Yeah, looks good.
Right. There's the Cassese Bakery style bread. Thank you very much, sweetheart. I appreciate you taking that out.
All right.
Appreciate it very much. We're going to be missing our state fairs and county fairs in Illinois. I'm going to show you how to make elephant ears. We did that before I ever ate one at a fair, so that might be one of our next tapes is how to make elephant ears with the same bread dough. And oh, I love to eat those things. They're so much fun. Anything else?
No, I think we're all set.
Okay.